All right, so my name is Judah Lee from TubeBuddy by BENlabs, and we had our inaugural winners here from the Emerging Creator Awards, and they were nominated by their community and by a panel of experts to be here today. And these are the creators who are absolutely killing it right now on YouTube. So we brought them on stage so we could have a conversation and try to unearth some of the insights that they have. Many of you know who's up here. They're really smart people. We'll save some time at the end for a Q&A. But just to get things going, I'm not gonna put anybody on the spot yet. I'm just gonna ask this question because Mr. Beast has this statement where he says, the difference between a 1 million view video and a 30 million view video is the idea. And raise your hand if you posted a video that you're like, oh, I freaking love this idea, and it flopped. Like, have you ever had that experience before? So, okay, so I think that most of us make videos that we are confident in. Like, nobody goes out their way to make a video that's gonna flop. And you're always giving the advice just to come up with a stronger idea. I don't think that's very helpful. So my question to all of you, because you're crushing it right now, all of your videos are going freaking nuts, like, how do you validate what a good idea is? Anybody can answer that.
I think the views are always gonna go up and down. It's like a wave, and you can do your best to predict it. For me, if I have fun, and this sounds so stupid, but honestly, like, if I have fun making it and I can be proud of the idea, for me, that's like a win. Obviously, if it's 10 out of 10, I'm a little bit sad, but no, if I have fun and I like the experience, I'm not gonna take it down. Yeah.
I'll add to that. I agree with that totally. Personally, for me, what I like to do is tap into nostalgia, into like the child within us, because it's still in there, you know. And I like to think of like, if I was a kid and I saw this on TV, would I be like, I want that? That's exciting to me. If it like awakens that inner child, it's a solid idea. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my threshold there. Mm-hmm.
Well, let me follow up with that. So just to add some more context here, because I think a lot of us creators, we struggle with this balance between us as an artist. Like, as an artist, we want to create a certain type of content that we feel deep down and passionate about. But on the other side, we have to be like this analyst who looks at data and use that to drive us and inform the decisions that we make with our content. So like, how are you finding that balance between the two of being an artist and being an analyst, but also like creating great ideas, looking at the data, but also what you feel like you want to be making?
Right on. Usually my ideas start with something that I'm passionate about, and usually that's art, and I find a way to take that idea and make it work in the format of a YouTube video, or I guess any social media video. And I guess if I can get that to work, then, and I'm proud of it, as I press the publish or post button, well then I'm satisfied.
Yeah, I run my ideas by team members in my Discord community, so I just bounce ideas back and forth with people. I'll say, I have this idea for a video, what do you think of it? And ideally, they'll tell me if it sucks or not, but that's typically what I'll do is I'll try to bounce ideas around and start with a general concept and then get feedback on it and evolve it and evolve it and evolve it until eventually we're both in agreement that this video is a winner. We're not always right, but we kind of come to an agreement that this video is a winner, and we always know too that we can tweak titles and thumbnails and stuff after it's published. So even if the concept, the hook isn't a winner, we could still go back and mess with it a little bit more and try again.
I want to dive deeper in that. Like, what's a winner? Like, how do you know it's a winner?
Well, so I make AI content, right? So it's very specific to like AI news and the current events in AI. And so I know whenever there's like a big news event, I'm gonna do a video that pops, right? Because a lot of people are actually searching my channel out now to find out about AI content. And when they know there's a big event, they're like, I'm gonna go see if Matt's talked about this one yet. So, whenever there's a big event, I always know those videos are gonna do well. But whenever it's sort of more of like a random concept of a video idea of like, I'm gonna make a deep fake of myself and then I'm gonna put it into this music video or something random like that. We never really know when we're going into it, but if we know we have like a really good title and thumbnail, we know it's probably going to do pretty well. But at the end of the day, it's all just kind of searching for feedback. I'll go back and forth with people until we just go, all right, this one seems like it's going to be a winner. Now let's put it out there and find out.
My name's Dominique. We run a kids channel, and I have twins, so they're my immediate feedback. They're 2.5, and they're the most critical human beings on the planet. So when we do activities, I generally like do it with them, and either I get 2 responses: do it again, which is, okay, that might be something. Daddy, let's watch something else. And so it's really awesome to get that immediate feedback and then upload it and then get the feedback from parents from other platforms like, hey, that worked. So that's been really awesome for us on that end. And I don't know if you want to piggyback off that.
Yeah, no, you took the words right out of my mouth. Creating content for kids is absolutely incredible, but also their minds are also constantly changing. So we get to, grow with them as they're growing up developmentally.
Similarly, I have a wife who's here supporting me as well. And I make Minecraft videos primarily, and she has never played Minecraft at all, and never probably will. And I think for me, if I have a good idea, it's one that intrigues her. It's an audience that is not invested in the game itself. It's more about the idea and the story that you're going to tell with it. So I think if you have the passion behind it and you have this kind of intrigue of the idea itself, then that is going to be probably a winner.
I love this. So I have another question for anybody who wants to speak up on this. It's a lot of creators here, they've been grinding for years after years and not seeing many results. So let me put Manuel on the spot real quick. Manuel, I met you 2 years ago, and the video you posted when I met you, it has 1,000 views today. Exactly 2 years later, you posted your first video that crossed 1 million views. First of many videos to cross 1 million views. And I follow him online, and I see you grind. You're up editing till 4 a.m. You're out with the boys and sharing a house, getting it done. My question is, for the creators out there, I think they want to know this. It's did you always believe in yourself? But how do you keep that energy going when things aren't working out early on?
Yeah. No, I don't believe myself now. I just, I have a hard time believing myself. But that's where a lot of my ideas come from. I pick an idea, and if it doesn't scare me a little bit, then I'm not gonna do it. Because I found that if I'm too comfortable, I'm not stretching myself creatively. If you're going through a rough time, I've been there so many times. I feel like you just gotta understand that the dream that most of us have is to be creators. You don't need to get paid to be a creator. If you're editing, if you're posting, if you're filming, you're doing it. You're just not getting paid for it just yet. But that's something I kind of had to come into terms with, where it's I might never get paid for this. I may never get a brand deal, but I'm just gonna do this until I die, and that's it. And eventually things started to change, but my process and how I think about it hasn't. I do things that scare me. I have a hard time believing myself, but I believe that I can figure it out along the way, so, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to piggyback off that, I read this book called Mindset, and you either have a closed mindset or a growth mindset. And instead of sitting here saying, I've been doing this for 10 years and nothing is failing, and everything, I'm losing the opportunities, I changed it to, I'm undefeated, right? I've either won or I've learned a lot. And when you include that into your lifestyle, everything that you continue to keep doing keeps growing and growing. We're in an industry as creators that we can look back at our content 2 years ago and go, what the heck was I doing? Who allowed me to get in front of the camera, press record, and then show myself and add comments? And it's really awesome that there's not many industries that allow you to look back on and self-reflect on yourself, and then also apply those pieces. The second thing is, the people next to me and the people next to you, continue to foster those relationships. You never know what they're capable of doing and what they're weak at that you might be strong at and what they're strong at that you might be weak at. For instance, this guy, Matt, I was very weak at just trying to figure out how to make it more efficient in the editing process or just researching and everything. I found him on YouTube, looked at all his AI content, instantly grew my efficiency in my workflow, and it's changed our channel a lot in these last 2 months. And so it's fostering relationships that you make here, fostering relationships online, Discord channels, all that will really help you continue that, I don't want to give up mindset.
I think another thing is think about what's the alternative. So for me, before I was a full-time YouTuber, I was working at factories and it sucked, I hated what I was doing. And it was either that or make this YouTube thing work, So, if that's your dream, always think what's the alternative? I can go do this and work at this job, but if I make this thing happen, even if you're not getting paid a ton for it, just pays off, like you said. Yeah. I could do this forever, not make a dime, but I'd rather do this than go back to the old life I was living. So, yeah.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit more because we're talking about keeping that energy going, even though it's tough. You guys just stick to it. But all of you up here, you're successful now. You made it through. But think back to when you only had 100 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers. What was a mindset or action that you were doing that was actually holding you back in retrospect?
I got a good one for this.
Let's hear it.
Early on, I was talking to him about this earlier. Early on, I was looking at analytics a lot. And when you're only getting a couple hundred views on a video or a couple thousand views on a video, those analytics are basically worthless because that is not your audience yet. Those are just random people that YouTube decided to show your video to. So I was getting really caught up early on, oh, I got 20 views on this video, the retention chart comes in, and I'm like, oh, people dropped off here. They must not have liked that thing I did. When in reality, I could have been doing something groundbreaking that if I stuck with it, eventually it could have been huge. So I think people get a little too caught up with the analytics in the back end early on instead of just focusing on having a good time and learning how to craft they craft their own creativity and just work, make something fresh. And yeah, that was for me.
Yeah, so I started my YouTube channel back in 2009. So I've been on YouTube for 14 years now. And I had 2,000 subscribers on my channel all the way up until 2022. So it wasn't until October of last year that I started actually pivoting and talking about AI a little bit more. And in 2023 alone, I've gained 438,000 subscribers just this year alone. And I think the mistakes that I made along those 13-ish years when I was doing the YouTube stuff was I kept on trying to chase trends. People would talk about this, I should go make a video about that. Or somebody would talk about this, I should make videos about that. And then when AI came along and started to get more popular in 2022, I fell in love with it, started making content about it, and I just found my thing. And it was just that was it. And I just started making that, and I found the thing that I was excited about, but also people were excited to watch. And when I found that intersection, I went all in on that sort of crossover. And so that was sort of my story of how I spent 13 years going nowhere on YouTube and 1 year kind of skyrocketing.
Our story is really funny because if it wasn't for Vimeo trying to charge me, our channel would not exist. We were making videos for my kids for when they come home, and she was our babysitter. And I tried to upload them on Vimeo, and I didn't have enough space. So I said, all right, let's throw them up on YouTube, I guess. And within 2 days, she calls me and says hey, we're at 10,000 views and 800 subscribers. And we had no descriptions, no tags, no thumbnails, no keywords.
That's not very relatable.
And I did that for 4 months. We just kept uploading, and I did not actually take the opportunity to just know the basics of the tools that are out there about YouTube. not trying to be the expert at it, but just knowing the foundation of those things. And as a filmmaker, like, I'm always thinking about, well, I know the visual is good and it's, the angles are great and stuff. And it was more like, no, you need to put a title on this thing and a thumbnail and keywords and that matter. So just really maximizing the tools that are out there, but not trying to kill yourself every day and trying to be an SEO expert of those things.
So like my next question to a lot of you, so like for example, Branzy, you make gaming content, right? And like gaming is like very saturated. Would you agree?
A little bit.
Okay,
Maybe just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And then not only that, you're doing gaming and Minecraft. Like I feel like that's like, oh, like so many people are hungry to do that. And like Matt, like so many people are like trying to make AI content. And it's like, and across the board for all of your channels, you're doing stuff that a lot of other people, you're in a niche, in a space that a lot of other people are trying to get into. And so my question is like, how are you breaking out of like breaking out? Like, how are you all getting the lion's share of attention? Like, how are you standing out in these saturated niches?
Yeah, I think Cash and Nico did a talk about something like this, and they can probably answer it way better than I could. But for me personally, I think I look at content like a melting pot. So if I like how Ryan Trahan tells a story, but I like how like RecRap 2 puts a Minecraft video together, I can kind of put those things together and it starts to drive my channel in a different direction. And it's maybe not right off the start a super unique thing that makes you stand out, but over time you keep adding these little pieces and these little elements that you like, maybe somebody's subtitle style or maybe the cuts, J cuts, L cuts, whatever. You just pick up these little tricks and over time you develop this style that really helps you stand out individually instead of just getting caught up in the pack of making the videos that you think you're supposed to make because that's what is popular. Like, I think the goal and the key should be to stand out and to find a way to make yourself a lot more individualized in order to attract a bigger audience for your niche.
I think for us, since we create children's content, I mean, I'm sure you all have heard all of those really popular nursery rhymes that we all grew up with that are constantly replayed and are, I'm gonna say, a little annoying. But for us, we started to create music that is relatable for parents and engaging for parents and their kids. And I think that helps us stand out a bit more. Yeah, is there anything you want to add to that?
Nothing's more satisfying when parents are finding us on Instagram saying, why am I listening to this song when my kid is asleep more than my kid is watching this? And our goal was like, not a lot of kids channels out there are thinking about the parent, right? And we want to allow that fostering relationship between the kid and parent to enjoy these activities at the same time. And that's gonna build a better relationship, especially in this digital age. If you can't beat the system, how do you create a system that benefits both the parent and the kid? So that's, all of our music is like parent driven. We always think about the parent first, because if they can continue to keep playing that, well, the kid is gonna keep playing that. And that's really where we're like, aha, like let's stick here in this world.
Yeah, being totally transparent, I don't totally know why people gravitate towards my content. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I will say that the AI niche is interesting because there's a lot of content creators out there that are using AI to create content and they don't really gain a lot of traction. And then there's also a lot of AI creators out there that just sort of talk about what's going on. And my goal with my channel is always, how is this practical? How are you actually going to use these tools? This AI tool is really cool, but what does that mean for your life? This AI tool, I find it really helpful, so let me make a video and show how it can help you in your business workflows or in your life workflows. And so I think that's sort of what makes my channel stand out, is I'm always trying to think of, okay, this is really cool and I want to talk about it, but how can you use it? And I think that's worked out well for me.
Yeah, I think another way that really works for me is I try to combine hobbies that typically don't work together. So like I have a pet frog and I do visual effects with it. And usually you don't see stuff like that, which helps you stand out in a way that I guess is much different than most people out there trying to get into these niches. So I guess consider combining multiple niches together to make something uniquely your own.
What I like to do is, because I make weird content, and I'm a weird guy, and I like to exaggerate the weird as much as I can. So sometimes if I'm doing something like this is weird, how can I make this more weird? How can I make this so weird that no one else is gonna want to do this? But I mean, I still like to do it. So I pretty much take any opportunity to be as weird or just as Jake as possible. Because like we're all very different. You're all very different. Lean into what makes you different as hard as you can, and you're gonna end up creating something that is so unique. And yeah, no one will touch it.
For me, I think about it as like a story perspective. Like, why do I have to tell the story? Not like how can I be better than, like, I don't know, someone else, but it's like, why do I have to tell the story? And I think people should probably think about it this way more. Just because, like, if you think about it, if someone makes a video traveling to every country, let's say Mr. Beast does that video, it's gonna perform really well, and it's gonna be cool. But if someone who's a barista and is making almost no money and has never traveled to any country, and she's making a series about traveling to every country, I think that is significantly more interesting than someone who has a ton of money trying to travel to every country. Like, the editing might be better on Jimmy's, but I think just figuring out why you specifically need to tell the story, I feel like that has helped me a lot, so.
Jake, I have some of your video titles right here. I built a jet ski out of trash.
That's right.
I built a secret arcade in public.
Yes.
My favorite, I built a plastic wrap treehouse. Your ideas are crazy, all right? So my thing with just everybody, but especially Jake, I really want to hear this from you. I think a lot of creators have this idea of what they want to create. And I don't know if anybody's seen like this really dope video called The Gap, where it like talks about like as creators, sometimes we want to make something, but our skills or abilities, we can't quite get the outcome that we were looking for. Maybe I wanted to draw this like Mona Lisa, and then, you know, kind of looks like SpongeBob or something at the end. And so like my thing with this is like, what's like the process look like for you? Because you're going after crazy ideas. And from start to finish, like, how do you go from, man, this will be a dope concept that I don't know how I'm gonna do it, to actually achieving it? Because I think a lot of creators are struggling from like, man, I have a dope idea, I just don't know how to do it.
I think a big thing, like, so like you say, like these ideas are crazy. They're actually really cheap as well. And this whole Out of Trash series, I build a lot of things out of trash, and it turns out to be a very creative idea that works, but it didn't just start with me being like, oh, it's a cool idea. It started with me having absolutely no money. And I was like, I want to build this thing for a video, and I don't have the budget to do it. So I found stuff, and I wanted to build a car. I wanted to build a go-kart for a video, and I had nothing, so I drove around and picked trash up off the side of the road, and I made it out of trash. And it was a way better idea than just building a go-kart. So I think the fundamental behind it is limits and boundaries. You can make an amazing movie off of $20 million, right? But you can make like an even like scrappier, with more heart and more creativity with $10. And I think setting boundaries is where you really let your creativity flourish. And like that's a big takeaway. I would say the less options you have, it forces you to be more creative. So give yourself some boundaries. It'll help.
I like that, creative constraints.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. And like Manuel, like I watch your channel and it's like, you're crazy too. You really are. And so like I kind of want to know that for you too. It's like some of the things you've done, it's like so unbelievably hard, like getting onto Wednesday, standing outside of McDonald's until you get Ryan Trahan of Brandon. Like it takes so much work. But like, how do you just like come up with this and then bring it to completion?
I don't know. I just try my best, and I think definitely a switch happened when I moved. I moved from Florida. Most of my family's over there. Most of my friends were over there, and then I like decided to like content creation was gonna be my thing. And then I typically get into this mindset. I'm pretty sure it's unhealthy, but it's like I'm either gonna do this or I'm gonna die trying. And yeah, I stood outside of McDonald's for as long as I could. I held a sign as high as I could, and I think things are a lot more simple than we think they are. You know, for some reason people have convinced us that things are hard. I just don't think so. You know, I tried getting onto Wednesday. It's one of the biggest shows in the world with no acting experience. That's a pretty cocky thing to do. It's honestly kind of stupid. But right now, I have worked with Jen Ortega's old acting coach. That was my first acting lesson. I think that's pretty cool. I've gone to Romania. Never thought I could go to Romania. I've never wanted to go to Romania. Didn't even know it was a country. And then I've also, 3 of the actors from the show now follow me on Instagram. I'm not on the show just yet, but just by setting that goal of like, I'm gonna get onto the show. I'm gonna get onto one of the biggest shows in the world. As a kid from Cuba, I feel like that is like pretty inspiring, especially like for other people who don't come from much. So that for me has helped me. And I think you just gotta set these goals that like almost like stress you. And you're gonna become the person who is gonna achieve it. You're not gonna achieve it right here, but you're gonna gain the skills and stuff. So I just don't think it's that hard. We overcomplicate it, I think. Yeah.
I don't want to answer for you, but this man's got heart. He's got heart.
So I see this time. Is this like time until Q&A, or is this like the time we got and like we're done? Time till Q. Okay. Cool. So in 3 minutes we're gonna do Q&A. Let me think here. I kind of want to go to Dominic and Sarah real quickly because this is a very, very niche question. Because you have a Made for Kids channel, and Made for Kids channel, you don't have comments, you don't have like a community tab, and those are the things that a lot of us, we use as feedback to understand like what our audience is saying and thinking. So my question to you both is like, how do you interact with your community without comments?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I didn't realize that we couldn't comment or use comments until 4 months into our channel as well. So just use me as a instrument of like, if Dom can do it, I can do it too. We were always trying to get feedback. We had immediate families and parents that we would reach out to. And then she came up with the brilliant idea of like, hey, let's put an Instagram channel together. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That's where all the parents are at. And then when we started taking our videos and making short versions of them and then pointing them back, we always asked, as we did that through stories and shorts, like, give us your feedback. Like, we are okay if you telling us that it's terrible. Even let us know like how the fonts are for your kids, things of that nature. And really right now, we use that as our driving mechanism to come up with the ideas. We then reach out, say, hey, come to our website. We'll feature your kid's name on our video as a way of saying thank you for being a part of Circle Time. But also, like, please roast us as best as possible. The only way we're going to make content better for the kids and for the parents is by getting honest feedback. And it's been an incredible running tool for us. And then Sarah's uniquely story is awesome because she's a teacher herself. And so
Yeah. So I came from a teaching background, and I have a lot of teacher friends. We're all in preschool, daycare, nannies, you name it, we're there. And having their feedback on what we should teach and how we should teach has been just incredible for our channel. Teachers rule. And the feedback that we get from the parents through Instagram is the most heartwarming things I've probably ever read. Like, one of our comments was, our speech pathologist mentioned your channel to us, and since then our child has been more verbal at the age of 3. And it's like I said, absolutely heartwarming. So that's how we communicate with our audiences, through Instagram and TikTok.
That's amazing. I love that. All right, so I see the timer going down, and I want to leave some time for Q&A. There's really, really smart people on stage right now, so I don't know if there needs to be a little line, or you just raise your hand for a mic. If there's a question that you want to ask somebody specifically, or a topic you want to throw out there, let's make that happen.
I could just go. Hello, my name is Griffin. I am super interested in scripted content, and I feel like there's a big future on that. So I'm just interested. I know, Jake, your stories have a lot of B plots, and you create kind of scripted storytelling. So I think there's a lot of potential for that. And I'm just curious on the panel's perspective on what the future of scripted and unscripted content will look like on YouTube.
I mean, I think scripted or non-scripted, there's a future for every type of content on YouTube. But personally, I don't really script that much. I know it might seem like it, but it's a lot of it's just like record and make it up as you go. And I think it's actually pretty important to give yourself that space to be creative throughout the whole process, rather than just like holding yourself to this format throughout the whole thing. If you script it too tight, you're going to be locked in, and there's not going to be any room for creativity later on down the road. But I don't know.
Wonderful. You go.
Cool. So to build off that idea, I personally script everything. I've got my storyboard set up, and I've got all my content ready to go before I even press record. But I do give myself this ability to improvise. I use it more of a foundation to guide me through the creation process instead of staying super true to what I wrote. I feel like it just helps create a stronger story knowing what you're getting into.
Love it. So anybody else with questions? There's like big bright lights on us, so I can't quite see if you have your hand raised.
Should we give them a mic?
And yeah, I'll give you my mic. How about that?
Thanks, Judah. Well, now I can't see. There we go. Would you like to hold the mic or?
Oh, you're not doing it?
I can ask a question. I do have a question. So a lot of what I've been hearing at the show, people talking about sort of owning your brand and monetizing off platform. I'm wondering if the panel has any thoughts on that, like how you're thinking about that, how you're thinking about your business, beyond just sort of the immediate views, subs, all that kind of stuff.
So we've actually started thinking about that about like a couple months ago when we did a potty training song, like a hip hop track, and there were parents that were actually saying, "Hey, do you have a book like that would complement this?" And once again, us being the smart people we are, we're like, "Oh yeah, that might. Why didn't we think of that?" And so it actually started opening up just levels of monetization outside of the platform, because we solely for the first 12 months just depended on YouTube ad revenue. And now as we're sitting here thinking about books, clothing, story pods, not only is it beneficial for us to understand like how the audience is thinking about us outside of the channel, but it's really changed our way of like, okay, now we want to really take this to the next level, and let's bring the right people on board for that. And so it's awesome to really believe like you can start creating a brand without actually having a brand, and other people see you and think that you are a brand, and then internally you're like, oh, I am a brand. And so that's really our next phase of content.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, guys. It's Mackenzie Mill. Sometimes being creative is a blessing and a curse. And I'm just wondering how you keep on focus, on track, and not get sidetracked by all the shiny objects.
What by shiny objects, you like money, or what do you mean?
No, I mean like art and project and woodworking and sawmill and all the things that make you creative or an artist.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you should get sidetracked a little bit. I think you should enjoy it, like especially like if that's what you like. Time constraints are helpful for all of us that are creative, because if you don't have a deadline, you're just always gonna keep doing it. You're a creator, so you're always gonna try to perfect it. So I think a deadline definitely helps me. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that has helped me, especially if I'm procrastinating a lot, if I'm overthinking it. Having a deadline and knowing that I have to shoot it at that specific date or I have to post it at that date, that has helped me. So
A little bit to add to that. So I think I get what you're saying. You have a lot of hobbies, I would assume. Yeah, so I'm the same way. I love to draw. I love to make music. I play, 3 different instruments. So it's like, how do I make time to make content and fulfill all these other things that I like? But I do like to prioritize. Okay, like YouTube. I love it, but it's also my job. So prioritize that. That's like my work. And then at the end of the day, I'll draw a little bit, or I'll grab a coloring book or something. You know what I mean? Like I actually, it's fun. But and then taking time to also thinking of ways to incorporate those extra hobbies into what you do. So like oftentimes the music that I create, I'll use in my videos. So if there's ever like a creative way you could work these things together, that always helps. So that way it's not a distraction anymore. It's actually just helping. So
That was great. Thanks.
Hi, guys. First time at VidSummit. Victor Lizardi. First time at VidSummit. Victor Lizardi. I am the executive producer with Talk with King Ferdinand. And one of the questions that I have is AI tools. And which is your favorite AI tool to use, and how to use it in your creative process?
So there's a lot of AI tools. I have a website where I curate AI tools, and there's 2,400 tools on that website. So there's just so many possible tools I can talk about. But for my own processes, I use AI tools for research, right? A lot of the stuff that I post on my channel is related to AI news and the latest AI tools. So I actually use a tool called Feedly Leo, which is a research tool. It's a RSS feed reader, but it will also sort of surface information from around the web that is related to the content you're looking for, and then you can sort of train it over time and say, I want less like this content, more like this content, less like this, and then it's this AI-generated feed of just information that you're looking for. So that's how I kind of stay on keep my finger on the pulse of the latest that's going on in AI. And then as far as like the creative process, there's so many different AI tools out there that speed up the creation process. There's one called Autopod, which is a Adobe Premiere plugin that will help you chop up your interview content using AI so that the camera's always pointed to the right person. There's Opus Clip, who I was just talking to somebody, one of the founders at Opus Clip here. It will take your long form video and find the perfect little clips for short form video, and then you can take it sort of analyzes it using AI and then figures out the exact moments that they think will go viral in short videos. But this is one of those topics where they're going to need to take the mic from me, because like I could probably list off like 200 AI tools.
To add, I was in your boat trying to figure out AI.
Yeah.
If you have not gone to Matt Wolf's YouTube channel and futuretools.io, he breaks it down and segments it for us, for creators, and makes videos on how you can utilize it in your process as well. And once again, it's been a super power tool to meet this guy in person and fanboy all over him.
One more thing. Thank you all for your contribution to society.
Thank you.
This is for question for you. Manuel, I really like your haircut. For TubeBuddy, I personally don't use it, I'll be honest. But if you were to pitch me with like one tool that was like recommend for a YouTuber for long form videos, what do you recommend?
Man, I will make this super quick because I don't want. We can talk about TubeBuddy anytime. But I would say like my favorite TubeBuddy tool, for me, is A/B testing right now. So I know YouTube's coming out with a A/B testing tool. We don't have it yet. So, right now that A/B testing tool is the thing that I use the most, or Click Magnet to help me understand really, there's a tool that lets you see videos that are high performing as far as like the analytics behind the scenes, but has like a low click-through rate. And like we have hundreds of videos and it's able to just like find these videos that have higher opportunities if we were just to change like the title or thumbnail. So those are the ones I use the most, but I want to get back to them. We can talk later.
I actually want to add, I'm excited for those and A/B testing. And congrats on getting Olivia Rodrigo to prom. So shout out to you.
Thank you, bro. Big fan. Alpha House.
Hello, my name is Eric Calderon. I just have a quick, two-part question. How has consistency, do you guys upload same time every week? Does consistency play a role in your success? And does anybody use paid advertising to try to get more views and subscribers?
Sure. Personally, I don't really have a schedule that I follow. Some months I will post only 2 videos, and other months I will post, multiple. And I guess for me, it is short form content that I create. And there's a lot of creators out there telling you that you need to be posting constantly, which is not the case. Personally, I think you should be making sure that your content is high quality, and it will get you a much larger audience than if you were to post 10 lower quality videos.
I'll add to that. Personally, I don't have a specific schedule. I'll post every 3 weeks, every 6 weeks, kind of like whenever I want. And that, my videos are pretty successful. And I think it's more important to have consistency with brand and quality. You don't want to post a video that's amazing and then next week post something that's just subpar. You want to keep that consistent. So I would say consistency as far as quality, like you said, is way more important than how many you're putting out.
Yeah, with my channel, I'm probably like the lowest effort content creator here. Everybody else puts like so much more into their videos because I'm basically reporting on the news and just talking about the latest tools and stuff. And when my channel started to talk about AI and I started to see some results talking about AI, I decided I'm gonna triple down, and I actually started making videos every single day. And I went about, 37 days in a row of making a new video every single day. And during that time was when I had the biggest growth on my channel, was just going for it every single day. And now I post only once a week because I was gonna burn out if I kept on going at that pace. But I think I'm probably an outlier because most of my content, I'm just flipping on the camera and going. And, and so I can actually crank out content pretty quick. But the second part of the question, I've never done YouTube ads to try to grow my channel. So I don't know if anybody else here has.
So to add to their thing, it's good to tell your audience when you can post. For us, parents are like, are you guys gonna make another video next week? I'm like, I got a full-time job, I got twins, I can't do this on a daily basis. But we have a thing in our channel at the top that says we post once a month, and then we also update them. And so the audience will stick around if you just consistently communicate to them. As far as Google Ads, yes, we were doing that a lot, and we found out at this at the summit, for our channel, it was the worst thing you could possibly do. And so I'm sitting there, and I'm just gonna be transparent with you. It's for some niches, it does work, but for kids' content, we don't get the watch history and the viewership. So when we are hoping that if they're going to a certain kid's channel and they see our ad, it would bring them back in the watch history when they come back the next day, it doesn't work for us. And we've been doing that for 6 months because our Google rep has told us, yeah, do Google Ads, but they scammed me again, and I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna get my money back. But it's a learning lesson. Wins and lessons, not a loss. We don't look at that as a loss. We look at that as a lesson learned. So.
Well, it looks like, do we have time for one more or do we need to wrap it up? Okay, so what we're gonna do, if you're still in line, we can just take it offline over there and answer those questions. But let's give them a round of applause real quickly. So we're gonna hang out over here, and we have a booth. The TubeBuddy BENlabs booth is just literally that direction. I don't know how to describe this area, but we're gonna be hanging out over there. If you have more questions, come holla.